Hello, everyone. This is Exploring Energy in Everyday Life with Rebecca Karchere.
And Mary Von Ohlen. Hi,
And
everyone.
thanks for tuning in. We are talking about evolution. So this is a very broad topic, and we're going to keep it fun and entertaining and interesting for you. So what evolution, this is just a discussion because it's hard to really define something that, like when I talk about evolution, I think about, we're really speculating about the future and where we're going, and no one really knows that, right? But we can, but evolution is essentially survival and adapting in whatever ways to survive. And evolving means, I guess, just changing with the times to survive, something along those lines. This is just my explanation. Look up the definition, but we're just here to chat and have a fun discussion about evolution. Mary, what would be your how do you want to describe evolution?
Sure, I agree with exactly what you said. And what comes to mind is that many people connect with the concept of evolution in terms of physical evolution, right? What we were taught in schools, evolving as a species. How do we survive? And so we've had jumps at certain times in the history of humanity in physical evolution, and certainly in mental, cognitive, even emotional evolution, I believe.
Right.
And I feel like now we're in a moment in the history of mankind. We're in a place where we really need and are experiencing, I believe, an advancement, an expansion in our evolution in the spiritual kind.
Right.
And it's really necessary. And do you want to talk more about why it's necessary? Kind of the shift from a fear-based place to a love.
Yeah. It's well, I can only really speak about the United States. I mean, that's where I live. So I don't know what everyone else is doing in the rest of the world. So I don't want to, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying what I feel and see and experience in the U.S. Yes, that in order for us to survive, we need to evolve. And what that means is, on a spiritual level, is we have to evolve. We have to transcend out of fear into love, essentially. And in doing that, we stop fighting ourselves. You look at, how we collectively live and operate today in the U.S. There's a lot of greed. There's a lot of competition. There's tons of fear in the media, tons of like this push-pull, this power play. There's so much corruption, and it's disgusting to me. And that's why I live in a bubble. Sorry, but that's how I survive.
Recording from the bubble today.
Yeah, from the bubble. So that's what I see in the world. And in order for us to survive, we have to evolve into love, which means we see one another as ourselves, and we cultivate unity, and we work together, rather than when we're operating from fear, we're going to be attacking essentially ourselves, which is destructive and a catabolic state. We can see that in the physical body as well. When our bodies break down, we see disease. It's catabolism. It's breaking down. And anabolism, am I saying that right? We're moving into
anabolic state.
Anabolic, thank you. We're moving into growth and repair and healing, and that is all. Actually, that's I'm thinking that's more of the feminine.
To create strength.
Yeah,
that adapt and function from a stronger place.
Yeah, right. So that's where we need to go anyway, from fear to love, in short. And we need to stop fighting ourselves and fight, which seems like we're fighting one another. But when you move into love, you realize, oh, I've been attacking you and you're me. So why would I do that? How are we going to evolve when we're destroying ourselves? It makes no sense. It's just
right. And what I think about, you speak about from your experience, both of us living in the United States, but have enough understanding of what's going on on the world level. We certainly could all agree that even with world wars and there's other wars going on all the time at other places on the planet, that literally when we're attacking each other, one
Right.
another, if we're all one, then exactly, we're only harming ourselves. And
Right.
so, like you mentioned, I think before, it's like the love revolution. What that's about is that shift from and realization, and we have to realize it on a spiritual level, that we are all one. And if that is the truth, if that's the divine truth that we're operating from, we're literally attacking ourselves.
Right.
When we, globally, individually, like you talked about, and that when we go back to evolution, talking about it's about survival as a species. I could literally see us killing ourselves off if we continue to operate from a place of fear, right? What are we doing? We're destroying our environment, our soil for nourishment, we're polluting our air, even with electromagnetic, frequencies that are in the harmful range, all these different things. And so we could literally kill ourselves off if we don't evolve. And so that's why we are evolving, because you either evolve or you become extinct.
Right. So exactly. So now that we've kind of set the tone for, I'm trying to, did you have something else you wanted to
No,
add?
I was thinking that, I know you wanted to talk about the pineal gland, and also something you talked about before reminded me of talking about kind of the gender topic that relates energetically to what we're talking about. You want to talk about that?
I mean, there's no way, this is just me and, living in a bubble and meditating a lot. What I feel what the human race is moving into is either a genderless body or an asexual body, but we're going to evolve out of the masculine and feminine distinctions. Those distinctions, I think, will be, will just be a one gender of some kind. Who's to say? No one on this planet will be around. But that would be my guess.
Again, I think what came to mind is it's probably really hard for people to wrap their minds around that concept. But like you said, we won't be around, meaning we're talking hundreds, maybe a couple thousand years from now. But that's where it seems like we're headed, and you can see evidence of it right now. On a smaller level. Even just look at pop culture. When there's changes going on, when suddenly there are characters in popular television shows that express different identification on that gender continuum, if you will, and it's trending towards more of that balanced neutral point, instead of super masculine over here or super feminine over here, and we're seeing more of a fluidity and different places along that spectrum represented. Whereas in the old paradigm, it's just had to be, it's black or it's white, it's male or it's female, or and polarity exists in the planet, but certainly so do all these shades of gray.
Yeah. I just, when you were describing that, I was thinking about that analogy or the metaphor of a rigid tree in a storm. When we have like a polarized masculine energy or a polarized feminine energy, you're going to break in a storm, right? You want to flow, like you said, be able to, where I mean, this is in my personal life, where I personally live. Everyone in my home, regardless of gender, can cook, go to work, clean the house, or build a shed outside. It's like there's no I only do this or I only do that, and I think that's how we're going to survive.
You make a good point there. Then if the gender identification changes, the gender roles, the stereotypes change as well. And I think you made this point already, but it's about separateness versus unity. And so, because the truth is, again, that not only are we all one, each individual has both male and female energy, So we have the yin and the yang, the two different energies. We all have those playing out in all of ourselves all the time. Just how are they balanced out? And you've probably experienced people who, you maybe have experienced a male in your life who looks outwardly, has all the kind of stereotypical masculine characteristics, and yet also seems very comfortable and balanced in their sensitivity and other, typically more feminine characteristics. So I agree. I think we're going to be seeing more and more of that, but it's a gradual process over time, as evolution is.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the other points that that I definitely want to share, again, we're not going to be able to experience it as us. This is, you know, thousands of years down the line. Who's to say? And who's to say I'm even correct? But what it also feels like is that we are going to evolve out of the need for emotions to even be a part of our experience. Now, you know, I'm, you know, big into the emotional body, and, you know, emotions do create our diseases in our physical body, and that's so intertwined. And yet I will jump and say that we'll eventually evolve out of even needing them. And the reason is that the emotions are there to guide us to our higher self, to it's like it's letting us know whether we're in alignment or not, whether we're following our desires, whether we're living our truth. They're all there to kind of, you know, bump up that we've experienced so that we can get back into alignment if we're listening. But anyway, it's so we have this system in place, but if we're always in our truth, if we're, you know, and someone who's living in their truth is going to be fully conscious, like a Christ being, like a Buddha, right? They're going to be fully conscious, and you don't need, you know, you're going to be in alignment, and so you're not going to need these emotions to steer us, because we're going to be aligned. You know, we're going to evolve out of this need for them. And just to, and I know this sounds crazy and, you know, a big jump, but, you know, we'll see. I do know I've experienced the Avatar course, and this is a course that's based out of Florida. And I completed the master's certification program, and I interacted with a lot of the Avatar graduates, and I can attest that I've come across almost non-emotive humans. Okay, almost alien-like, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of suspicious. That's kind of weird. But I get it, because, and I think even Matt Kahn mentions this phenomenon, or this, you know, that we're eventually not going to need them. That's all I'll say. And if you want to take the Avatar course and find out, feel free. I love the Avatar course. It will help you take control of your life. A little plug for the Avatar program. But anyway, Mary, do you have anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, no, I relate with that concept, even with Matt Kahn. We've mentioned him before, and he's a spiritual teacher. He's very popular on YouTube, does live seminars, but they get recorded and published on YouTube. And if you want to see what we're talking about, maybe go back and look at one of his videos from a year or two ago, and then look at his most recent one or two. Mm-hmm. And there's a complete change in the way that he communicates, and if you can really sense his energy. In the older ones, it felt like he was just constantly in like a spiritual plane, almost being almost as if you've ever seen someone channeling. They're really in kind of an altered state, and it was kind of like he was in part like that all the time, and almost robotic. You know, he was just not. He would smile and he had some humor, but it was very subdued. Mm-hmm. And now he's made a conscious choice, a kind of shift, and I think he's kind of more in his humanness, if you will, and speaking about his own evolution and what happened to him emotionally, and his spiritual evolution. And in communicating that, he's totally different. I mean, he used to sit and talk, and now he stands. His whole demeanor has changed. So check that out if you want to kind of observe, have a visual of what we're talking about, just a small example.
Yes, we love Matt Kahn. He's helped me evolve tremendously.
We'll put a link to his YouTube videos or his website below. You spell his name Kahn.
Yes, and I like that he's a spiritual human being who loves God and listens to heavy metal. I'm all for it.
Yes, right on.
I listen to Slayer, and I love God. You know, it's like, you know, what a
yes. He talks about that being calm. You know, I'm driving through downtown and I've got heavy metal blasting, and it calms me down.
That's me. Mm-hmm. I get such criticism about it, but I'm like, no, I need to hear death metal. It makes me feel sane. Mm-hmm. And so I've never heard anyone explain it like that, but, you know, we definitely have that in common. But anyway, so in summary, you mentioned the pineal gland.
Yes.
So the higher brain, the prefrontal cortex, this is where humans, I don't even know where you wanted me to go with this, but I mean, this is where I operate most dominantly, my experience from my pineal gland, for sure, the sixth chakra. So I'm constantly in this intuitive place and picking up information and navigating from this place. I would say it's more of an evolved brain function that we all have. It's a muscle. It's just like a muscle, just like you going to the gym and you want to strengthen this or that. We all have the same musculature. We all have generally the same brain chemistry, the same brain anatomy, but it's whether you're using it or not. And so I would encourage you, all of you, to open up this third eye and operate from that place. It's a higher awareness. It's a higher knowing. And just as an example, what I'm going to rant about on my video, separate from this, probably separate from the Health Fairy Live, is, I hear things that medical doctors have done all their tests. They can't figure out why so-and-so is sick, and I hear exactly what the issue is. I confirm it with muscle testing. I present it to the patient, and I think that's coming from that's coming from the spiritual plane, that's coming from the non-physical, spiritual dimension that we could all be tapping into, which is why I'm teaching source energy technique, that we have this ability. We all need to be tapping into it and stop relying on archaic, outdated technology that seems like modern and the best, because it's all BS. And there you have it.
So perhaps in future broadcasts or information that we put out, we can address people's questions. What I kind of heard during that, when I tune into the listeners with my third eye, with my pineal gland, is how do we do that? I don't know if mine's open. How do I open that? Yeah. Lots of ways to do that. So it begins with an awareness that you have that, and that it is a sense, like a muscle, that you want to strengthen and build.
Right.
So just acknowledging that today and being open to its existence is a start, and then we can continue from there.
Yeah, definitely. This is part of the awareness and part of the evolution, the listener's evolution of opening up their sixth chakra. Yeah.
Rebecca, I'm curious, because I don't know. I know that you're coming to Connecticut to teach live in June 2nd.
Yes.
Is that workshop full already?
No, I haven't officially advertised it yet. I'm just letting people know, keep it open on your calendar, and then I'll be sending out something officially. I have to draft the schedule.
Okay, great. If you're not on Rebecca's newsletter list, do so.
Yes, Rebecca at purenutrition.com, and you can email me and I'll get you on my mailing list, or I'll put some links below this. And then you can learn source energy technique on June 2nd and open up that sixth chakra, so you can rely more on your own inner guidance system rather than on an external source that has archaic technology. It's very simple. Be your own doctor. I will teach you how.
It's a good segue too into next week. I believe we're talking about another broad and crucial topic in the realm of healing: forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Good one. Good one. Stay tuned for that. That's a big one. That's it. So, right. That's critical. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thanks for tuning in. And you can also tune in to the Health Fairy Live Fridays at noon on Facebook, on my Facebook page, on Pure Nutrition page. And Mary, I don't know if you have any other closing remarks.
That's all. Just stay open. The last thing I want to say is, sometimes when I'm working with clients, they're concerned on this topic of evolution. They feel like, what's happening in the world? Where are we going? What's going on with humans? There seems to be so much fear and greed and ego control type of energy going on. And I remind them that that's what we're fed, and that's what we see if you're watching mainstream media and if you're tuned into that. And while that is going on, what we don't hear about as much, very little in mainstream kind of forms, is this spiritual evolution that is taking place, and how many people across the globe are meditating, are expanding in their spirituality, are connecting and realizing this oneness and these truths. So that is absolutely happening. And we get to choose whether we focus on the fear energy that's playing out and dying out gradually over time, or if we focus on the love energy and the oneness and this expansion of consciousness to a higher place of love that's happening globally as well. So it's a choice. Tune into that place of love and focus on that, because that is going on, and it's a bigger movement than we are shown.
Yeah, and that just a comment about that. Fear is fear is force. And everyone's looking for power. Everyone's looking to survive. Everyone's in survival mode. Well, the real survival is power. And power is synonymous with love. It's one and the same. So if you're really looking to survive and live an ultimate life, you have to move in to love and oneness, or you'll die off.
Exactly.
I gotta make it light. I gotta make it light.
So we'll leave you with that. Focus on, connect with the energy of love, and you can practice that in your daily life. That's, explore that energy every day in your life.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next week. All right.
Bye. Bye-bye.